Kia ora team, I'm Coach Ray. I'm a triathlon and marathon running coach who specialises in coaching beginner and recreational athletes to achieve their sporting as well as their health and fitness goals. Now what I'm going to talk to you about in this short video today are my 7 top marathon and half marathon training tips. Let's get straight into them, mate. Tip number 1, and I might be slightly biased with this, but there's very sound reasons for it. I strongly recommend you get a coach or at the very least a structured training plan to follow to ensure you achieve your success. A coach can help build your training up and progress you based on your abilities, the time you've got available to train, plan it around your other life aspects. We all need to work with, most of us have got families that we need to plan our training and our life around. Some of us have got study. There's a range of other things that we need the training plans around. It's well and good grabbing something off the internet and just following it, but a lot of the time they're not planned with the average person who's got not so lofty goals and you're only wanting to complete it or better a previous time. So working with a coach can really help you develop your athletic potential to your limits to achieve your goals. So I strongly recommend you get a coach, or at the very least follow a structured plan. And you can get these from plenty of places. There's many great coaches out on the internet, including myself, of course, and I'll put a blatant plug in for www.coachraytraining.com, which is my structured training plan website, and you can go in there and get whatever plan you desire. But working with a coach is going to be the preferred way rather than just having a plan. So working with that coach, they can develop the plan and update it as you go along based on how you're progressing, how you're tracking, and anything that springs up in your life, maybe a family wedding that you're going to somewhere else, and you need to plan your training around that. Who knows what your situation is, but a coach can help you plan around it and guarantee you the results. So that's tip 1, get a coach or work with a structured training plan. Tip number 2 is set some realistic goals. Now you can utilise the SMART goal acronym to set the goals, but the key thing is you need to look at what is going to be realistic for you to achieve and have you got a suitable time frame to achieve it in. And a coach, when you sit down with them, should help you or at least guide you through ensuring that the goals you are setting for yourself are suitable and then you're not setting yourself up for failure. Tip number 3 tip number 2, just to rephrase it, is to set realistic goals. Tip number 3 that we'll move on to now is to run nice and easy. Most people do their easy training far too hard and also their hard training far too easy. The majority of marathon training and half marathon training is at a nice steady pace. Basically you could call it jogging even. You want to be at an intensity that allows you to breathe easy, allows you to have a conversation with any training partners. It's going to build up a range of physiological benefits. It's going to improve the efficiency of the heart and lungs, and we can go into talking about the size of the left ventricle and the force of contraction of the left ventricle. But at the end of the day, the heart and lungs work together more effectively to get oxygen from the air into the bloodstream, and then the bloodstream works more efficiently to get that blood down to the working muscles in the legs that need it. And so we're going to be having things like the density of the capillary beds is going to be increasing, so it makes it easier for the oxygen to get from the blood into the working muscles. Inside the muscle cells itself, there's going to be mitochondrial development, and the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the muscle. But at the end of the day, it allows you to run at a more efficient pace and save energy for later in the event, in a layman's term, is a way of describing it. So running easy is very important. A marathon and a half marathon, whichever way you look at it, are endurance events. So we need to train at that pace, at that intensity to enhance the endurance of our body. Any good program will have you running at higher intensities for a few different reasons, but the key is the majority of your training, probably around the 80% mark, is going to be nice, easy pace. So that's tip number 3, run at an easy pace. Don't overdo things. Tip number 4 is practice running at your goal pace. And that includes having nutrition, race-like simulation. So if you're training for a marathon, you might want to be doing a half marathon as part of that build-up, where you practice running at your goal pace. You have nutrition, squeezies or drinks as you would in the event. You want to practice that so it becomes familiar to your body and you know what to expect on race day. Same as with a half marathon. If you're doing a half marathon, maybe doing a 10K as part of your build-up, or multiple 10Ks, not necessarily on the same day, but over a series of weekends or weeks, do a number of different 10K events. It gives you the opportunity to practice that race pace or a touch faster. So that's tip number 4, practice your goal pace. Moving on to tip number 5, make sure you stretch. Running is a very cyclic and repetitive action that shortens the muscles. We do need to make sure we stretch them out and lengthen them again, particularly the muscles of the lower limb. The other advantages of stretching, it will help prevent injury. It will help assist with the recovery. And the biggest benefit of all is it's a nice relaxing session. It's a recovery day, and having that recovery is important. And that leads straight into tip 6. So before I jump into tip 6, just want to reinforce tip 5, and it's make sure you spend some time stretching. You should be doing it after every run that you do, and also maybe doing a dedicated stretch session each week, such as a yoga class, or maybe just spending 30 minutes working through your whole body stretching. So on to tip 6, and that's make sure you get enough recovery, especially around sleep. Sleep is when the body does most of its recovery. It's important you get that recovery, otherwise you're going to end up on a downhill trajectory. Your running's going to get worse and worse and worse, and you'll end up in a downhill spiral, possibly getting sick, ill, or injured as a result of doing too much training and not enough recovery. Now, you don't need to be running every day. I alluded to the stretch session or the recovery day in the previous tip, making sure that you take advantage of that. Even if you're running 3 or 4 days a week and having other sessions, some cross-training as part of those other days. But I do want you, strongly encourage you to have a rest day and make sure you get that recovery your body needs. 8 hours is a great amount of sleep each night. If you can get more, even better. But you certainly don't want to be cutting your sleep short. So that's tip 6, ensure you maximise your recovery, especially around your sleep. And then finally, tip 7, plan for future events and goals. Set yourself some goals past the marathon or half marathon that you're currently targeting. Have something to move on to afterwards. A lot of people get to their big event and say, hey, awesome, I've done it, tick that box, I'll just take a break now. And they don't plan for the future, and they find themselves 8 months down the track having done nothing, put on 5 or 6 kilograms, and have lost the enjoyment they had with the exercise they had been doing. So plan for future events and goals early. So there you go, there's my 7 top tips for marathon and half marathon training. Just go through them quickly. Tip 1, get a coach and or a structured training program. Tip 2, set realistic goals. Tip 3, run easy. Tip 4, practice your goal pace. Tip 5, make sure you stretch. Tip 6, make sure you maximize your recovery and sleep. And tip 7, plan ahead for future events and goals nice and early. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and put a comment in down below, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or on my website at www.coachray.nz. Really appreciate people when they take the time to put comments, and I do get back to you. Have a good one.